Hey YouTube, I'm Anthony.
I'm Monica.
And we're the Cooks. Okay, my wife was just singing this song, and I asked her to sing it for you guys, and she said that she wouldn't, but I think that she will now that she's on camera. Go ahead.
Whether times are good or bad, happy or sad.
I love that. And if I'm not mistaken, the name of that song is Let's Stay Together. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about staying together. Whether times are good or bad, happy or sad, let's stay together. So now, I want to talk to you guys about this couple that I know. And see those things that are flying? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk to you. Look up there. Okay. I want to talk to you about a couple that I know. Okay. This couple had a really good marriage, really good, successful marriage, really good relationship. They were put together by God, without a shadow of a doubt. They were the premier couple. They were the couple that you look at and say, you know what? I want my marriage to be just like theirs. Everything that they could possibly want. He cherished his wife. He gave her all kinds of gifts, all kinds of prizes, all kinds of presents. He took care of her. He basically laid the world out in front of her. And then one day, they had some problems. They got caught up in different situations. He made some mistakes. She made some mistakes. And bad things happen. Okay, let's put it like that. When she made her mistakes, they were hers to own up. When he made his mistakes, they were his to own up. But when it came down to it, they looked at their relationship and said, you know what? Even though we've made these mistakes, we're not going to point the blame game, but we're going to take our punishment and we're going to suffer our consequences, but we're going to stay together. Do you remember that couple? You know what I'm talking about? No? Okay. Couple, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. If you think about it, Adam and Eve, they had the perfect marriage. Their marriage was the marriage that basically all marriages were based upon after their marriage. He gave her everything that she could possibly want. He gave her a beautiful place to live and showered her with everything and anything that she wanted on the world. She was truly bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh. He was committed to God. He had a great relationship with the Lord. They had a great relationship with the Lord. They would go to church and truly pray together and talk to God together. But then Satan came in. And when Satan came in, some mistakes were made. She made some mistakes. He made some mistakes. He could have easily blamed her. Oh, why are you over there doing it? You over there doing it. She could have easily blamed him. Well, you the man, you're supposed to be stronger than that. I don't see why you fell for it. But instead of doing that, when it came down to it, the punishment came down. The punishment came down on both of them together. And what I love about Adam and Eve is that they never sat there and played the blame game and said, well, it's your fault, it's your fault. If it was you, we would still have our house. If it was you, we would still live in that great neighborhood. They never did that. Basically. For a minute, they did. They turmoiled a little bit. But even though they went through this horrible thing together and they made bad choices, they still stayed together. They still stayed committed to their relationship. They still, whether times were good, because times were great. Whether times were bad, because he had to work and she had labor pains. Happy or sad, they decided that they were going to stay together. And so my wife sang a little bit of that song, but you got to ask yourself, in your marriage, whether times are good, there will be a lot of good times. There will be a lot of good times. There will be a lot of smiles. There will be a lot of great dinners, and there will be a lot of great date nights, and there will be a lot of great nights, and there will be a lot of great hugs and kisses in the morning leaving for work. There will be a lot of great times. But in any marriage, there are going to be those bad times. And you got to take a look at those bad times and you got to say, well, the good times outweigh the bad times. And whether they don't, are we still going to stay together?
Because one thing about the bad times is sometimes they're as bad as you want them to be. Because a lot of times the bad times they can be worse or they can be mild, depending on how you receive them, how you guys are handling them. One thing we've done is we've learned how to laugh through it all.
Laugh through it all. My grandfather used to say, here's the secrets to life. and I'm going to give you these secrets. He said, you remember these two things, and life will be wonderful. Number one thing, never sweat the small things. Never, ever, ever sweat the small things. And number two, what's the number two thing?
Remember, they're all small.
They're all small. In the big scheme of things, they're all small. So you got to take a look at your marriage and you got to say, good times or bad times. So I'm going to tell you, when Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden, that was probably considered to be, in their minds, one of the worst times, one of the horrible times. And it definitely probably overshadowed a lot of the good times, a lot of the fruit and the milk and the honey and all that kind of stuff. It probably did overshadow those times. Definitely. But they were committed. They were committed to their relationship. They were committed to their marriage. And so, what are you? Are you ready? Are you ready to really stick it out? Are you ready to stick around when it gets really, really, really hard? Or are you only there for the happy times? We've done marriage counseling with different couples. And as soon as things start to go south, when things are not as happy as they want them to be, when the money is not coming in the way they want it to, when the house is not the way that they want it to be, when it's not clean and neat, and when the kids are being bad, and when the stepkids are saying mean things to the mom and the dad's not stepping up, when all these different things happen, where are you? Are you willing to stick it out? Whether good or bad, happy or sad, are you going to stay together? Because staying together, it is ultimately a choice. You can flee, you can run from it. Whenever I talk to couples, and primarily couples that are going through divorce, one of the first things that I ask them is, how many years have been good years? And how many years have been bad years? A lot of couples say that the majority of their years were great, and they've only had a few bad years. And I look at them and I say, wow, so what you're telling me is that you're going to give up on all of the great years you had?
Remember, it's a choice.
It's a choice. Because you've had some bad years? I don't know. You know, and I put it back in their court, and I tell them, hey, you have to make the decision as far as your life, as far as your marriage. But realize, are you making a choice? Are you making a conscious effort? Are you making a conscious decision to say, no, I don't want to be with this person anymore? Or are you taking a look at yourself and saying, hey, you know what? I want something else. Are you being totally selfish in your mind state? Or are you putting all the variables into it? Because if you put all the variables into it and you really take a look at what you stand to lose, a lot of times it'll make you reevaluate whether good or bad, happy or sad, and you will stay together.
And a lot of times you need to look at your contribution to the bad.
Yeah, because if Adam and Eve would have taken a look at their part in it, and I think they did. I think that, what do you think? I think that they probably took a look at it and said, well, I probably shouldn't have been talking to him. And, well, I probably shouldn't have taken that from you and eaten it. Hopefully they did. Because I think that if they would have played the blame game and they would have said, well, it was your fault, and it was your fault, and it was your fault, they probably wouldn't stay together. I mean, their alternative would have been kind of bad. There's nobody else. So, YouTube, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for commenting. Thank you so much for telling people about us. Please leave us comments. Leave us insight. Let us know what you want us to talk about. If you ask us, we promise we'll answer.
We do know that Adam tried to blame it on Eve, but we just saying.
She started listening to Satan first, right? She was out there listening to the devil.
And YouTube, we thank you once again for joining us.
Bye.
Remember, 1
Bye.
+ 1 = 1.